I'm excited to be doing this recipe today, which is utilizing one of the cauliflowers that I grew in my garden. It was a really great year for cauliflowers this year. So I'm making a cauliflower rice, which is a way of consuming something that is like a carbohydrate, like rice, but it's actually really low carb and full of the fibers of cauliflower. Of course, if you're sensitive to cauliflower or you're very sensitive to the FODMAPs, you'll have to keep the amount that you consume fairly small, but it's still a great way to utilize more fibers, more insoluble fiber, and actually have more vegetables in your day without consuming any carbohydrates. So the twist I'm going to do with this cauliflower rice is I'm going to make it a saffron rice, because isn't that a delectable way to have your rice? So we're using some saffron threads. You could also use turmeric because saffron is quite expensive. And we're going to use a little pinch of threads, and I'm going to put that into just 2 tablespoons of bone broth to soften. And we're going to use that in the cooking. So a nice pinch, nice pinch of saffron into the bone broth. We're just going to let that soak. And meanwhile, I'm going to prepare the cauliflower. This cauliflower is going to go into the food processor. So I just need to chop it up so it's small enough to fit. And then we're going to pulse it till we get a rice consistency. I'm very excited to be using some saffron in this recipe. Saffron has recently been very well studied for its assistance with regards to mood and your cognitive function, as well as helping your eye health, reducing your risk of heart disease, reducing PMS. It promotes weight loss, and it also improves sexual function. So whilst it's a fairly expensive spice to use, it packs a punch. So we're going to put this cauliflower into the multi-processor. I'm going to do the whole head, might as well. And we're just going to pulse it until we get a rice-like consistency. Go on. So we do pulsing action. Perfect. That's all it takes. Now we're going to fry that off just a little bit with the saffron. We can also add things like, we could add some onion or some garlic, etc. But I'm going to keep this one fairly plain. A little bit of good quality olive oil in the bottom of that. We just put the cauliflower rice straight in that. Don't have to fry it off for very long. To this I'm going to add the saffron. This saffron's been soaking in that little bit of chicken bone broth, and I'm just going to add that to the cauliflower rice. Just really lightly fry that off. Really developing up a really lovely yellow, lovely colour now. Yep, so that's great. Really, I've only just been tossing that around for about 3 minutes, and that's enough. Bit of extra saffron on top to make it look pretty. Just a little pinch. And that is done. Saffron rice using cauliflower.